Guys, so today I'm gonna go over some updated news about several things related to another order from Trump White House, a judge blocking Trump's deportation action, DOJ situation with Wikipedia, issues with retirement for federal workers. That's gonna be also another important thing to talk about. Visa applications from people who from Japanese people, Japanese citizens, and situation of what's going on with Cali's economy. So first thing first, this from the Daily Beast website. This from April 27, 2025. In very short period of time, so much has happened. Like as per usual, every time Trump is a president, a lot of things happen. It's hard to keep up. So the Texas district judge's ruling said the deportation had caused case uncertainty. So now the judge blocked Trump's deportation under the 1790 wartime law. Another judge has brought Donald Trump's deportation under 200-year-old wartime law that the president has used to justify his campaign to rid of documented immigrants. Imagine using a law that's 2 centuries old to justify a reason why you are deporting people with no due process. It's insane. The only thing Trump administration has to do is just follow due process. If they actually did the things the right way and went properly without going so freaking crazy every time, nobody will complain. A big issue that we have is that Trump is just doing whatever Trump wants to do. If Trump just let's give them due process, we prove they're undocumented, we deport them back to the actual country, not to El Salvador prison where they can be tortured and forced to do hardcore labor for free or for pennies. He could do the right thing, send them back to the country. Fine, you want to deport them back to the country. At least you're providing the process. You're able to investigate, improve that they are undocumented. Fine, you did your due diligence, and you're done with that. Of course, that could take time, right? If you do the legal way, the proper way of doing things, with due process, it would take time. It could take weeks to months, maybe years, depending on how many people to get this done correctly. No one would necessarily even complain if he was actually be able to prove that he's deporting people who truly are criminals. But he's not doing that either. So you always do due process to cover your ass and demonstrate that you're doing the right thing. Because the DOJ already made errors. And they're deporting supposedly 2 4 year olds, like 2 years, 4 year old kids who as US citizens, they're deporting them. One who needed cancer treatment. That's a whole other issue that I'll discuss in another video, but it's a lot going on in a very short period of time. And if they just follow due process, follow the procedures of it, do it correctly, most people will not complain. People will not care if you're deporting someone who's undocumented. If you follow due process and do everything correctly, appropriately, make sure they go back to the correct country. Don't just send them to a freaking prison in El Salvador and just call it a day, like Garcia situation. Do it correctly, people will not complain. I can guarantee you that a lot of Democrats will actually be happy if you just followed the law and did things correctly. That's all you need to do. Nobody will complain so heavily if you don't do illegal shit. Send ICE with no uniform, mask, and arresting students at colleges, arresting a 2 4 year old, who are citizens, like sending citizens to El Salvador, claim they're MS-13 gang members. That's a problem. You gotta stop that. Don't do that. No one's gonna call you a dictator already. At least not for that reason. That's extreme dictatorship style handling deportations. You don't do that. So it was a U.S. District Judge David Bryanos, Bryanes, Bernes, maybe I definitely mispronouncing that halted this deportation under the Alien Animals Act. Yeah, so a lot of things be going on with other judges throughout the country. It's been nationwide where judges are blocking Trump's efforts. So he's been trying to use the U.S. Supreme Court to agree with him, and so he can keep going. Obviously, I don't agree with deporting people with no due process. You need to have that. So again, do the right thing. No one will be complaining. Next article is about Trump DOJ, Department of Justice, threatens Wikipedia's nonprofit status over alleged propaganda. I'm just laughing because it's ironic that DOJ is saying this when the White House had been submitting a bunch of propaganda since Trump became president. A lot of it. Horrific pictures that look also AI. and also putting Trump's mugshot in the White House. It's ironic, but we are filled with fascists. It's not just Trump; his entire administration, his cabinet is all filled with fascists, and it's a problem that's been going on since his first term, and nobody's doing anything about it. I don't see your Supreme Court really going hardcore to try to stop this. So it's a big issue. Everyone's just pointing a finger and slamming him with hardcore, verbal threats, and nothing's actually being done. No one's saying the U.S. Marshals at least try to do something or utilize the military in some way to stop him. Nobody. Until people actually do the right thing, like they do in other countries, where they actually follow through and get rid of these people from their positions, we're gonna be in this circle, or really it's not circle, this cycle of fascism and dictatorship that's going to keep happening because they have a lot of wannabe dictators like Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, among others. So the Tony Crane's Wikipedia is being manipulated by foreign actors. Yeah, right. April 26, 2025 is when the article is published by Gizmodo. Guess that's how you pronounce it. Um, so it's just a lot of this BS. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this, but they could. I wouldn't be surprised if Wikipedia lose their nonprofit status because they probably don't like the things that people in Wikipedia, especially about Trump and his administration. Uh, so they try and find a way to get rid of the tax exempt nonprofit status they have. But they shouldn't try that with churches that have been known to molest and rape children. But they do immediately with Wikipedia. But it's not surprising when Trump had no issues of freeing all the January 6 insurrectionists. So Trump is just being Trump. He doesn't care. Whoever benefits him, at least he believes will benefit him, he will help, even though they're a bunch of criminals. But he's a criminal. He has, what, 34? He's been convicted of 34 felonies, and he got zero prison time, and he was still allowed to be president. Pretty sad that that's the type of people that MAGA folks like to vote for. So it's an issue I've been going. Screen that guys can read more in detail. Given that Musk has made Wikipedia a target, calling it Workpedia, of course he did, and claiming that it is an extension of legacy media propaganda. Yeah, so it's an effort to try to shut down anything that disagrees with Trump and his cabinet. So this from April 25, 2025. This is straight from the oversighthouse.gov website. Keep this in mind. This is very important uh, for government employees. So if you're federal government employees, really pay attention to this. Come announces full committee markup on budget legislation for April 30. So that's going to be in 2 days from now. As today is Monday, so April 30 is going to be Wednesday of this week. Washington Today House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform Chairman James Comer, of course Republican, announced markup will take place on Wednesday, April 30 at 10 a.m. to consider budget legislation to advance President Trump's agenda to provide tax relief for American families and small businesses. Keep in mind that the budget for federal government workers' pension, benefits, retirement plans, etc., and salaries is a very small percentage of the federal budget. It would be much more wise to slash the budget for the military, aka Pentagon and all that, which is really high, slash that by half, and use that budget that you remove half of from the military to to improve healthcare benefits to people, so people can qualify for free healthcare, improve education accessibility, and also make sure that current federal government workers can still receive pension. They don't get a worse version of a pension, can still be promoted, still be able to work from home, etc. There are ways to do this. Slashing the military budget would be one way, and just allocate the budget to more important things. But they won't do that. That'll be too logical for the Republican Party to ever think of doing that, especially not Trump and JD Vance. So 100% will not do that. And with Musk involved, no, it's not gonna happen. Musk might not have mind because there are a lot of contracts that made with Musk's businesses, but their way they're doing it, a lot of these contracts are more for military operations, not for healthcare, education, and the economy. Including that includes, when I say the economy, also including the federal government's employees, pension, salary, promotion opportunities, etc. And obviously job security and all that. I'm very big on making sure that your local, state, and federal government employees are happy and have a good retirement plan and not being screwed over. We need government employees. People don't understand how important it is to have quality and efficient government workers. You get rid of them, is this whole country will collapse, and it's just gonna be the land of the rich and the wealthy and poor. Your taxpayers already pay these things, but it's not crazy amount that you think. Instead of being jealous of federal government workers, you should be fight with them. Form unions. Join forces with current labor unions that exist. You should do those things. Do not go after federal government employees. Go after the actual enemy, the wealthy and the rich. The rich and the wealthy are the problem, not government workers. Keep telling the superior they don't understand, but they have no clue what government workers really do on a daily basis to provide public service on a timely manner to the public. I'm not saying every government employee is amazing, but majority of us do a good job as public servants. So, following the markup, the committee will finalize the session of the budget legislation and transmit that to the House Committee on the Budget, which will compile and present the final package for consideration by the U.S. House of Reps. So it'll be a so the whole point is to have reconciliation structure and require a net reduction in the federal deficit of no less than $50 billion and reforms to help balance the federal budget. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of issue. So regulation, Title 11, Committee Oversight and Government Reform. This is more information about it. Gives a list of this. Raises the first retirement contribution rate for many existing federal civilian employees and postal employees, so that's USPS, United States Postal Service, up to the new rate of 4.4% of the salary. $30.716 billion revenue increase for deficit reduction. Elimination, so this is a raise for employee contribution requirements. I think it should be reduced, but that's me. Elimination of the first annuity supplement, I don't agree with that. For new federal retirees, this reform eliminates the additional retirement annuity payment that those eligible to retire before the age of 62 currently receive until they reach the age of Social Security retirement eligibility benefits. Exempt from this reform are those in federal occupation subject to mandatory early separation in all those retirement. So that's probably going to be like police, firefighters, I'm going to assume. High five average pay for calculation, CSRS, and first pension. It used to be the high threes. So high five is not good. That means you're going to have a reduced pension plan. You don't want that. You want to improve the pension so that people have a better retirement plan, not reduce it. So you have less money when you retire. That's never a good thing. I also don't agree with that. Reduces federal pension benefit by basing retiree annuity payment on the average highest 5 earnings years instead of the highest three. 4.750 billion in savings. So more of that. Election for at-will employment and lower first contribution for new federal service hires. Gives new federal employees hired the option to elect to serve at will in exchange for higher take-home pay. Will save more $1 billion. Do not do that. So if you start working for the federal government, do not choose at will. Because what's gonna happen, you think you're gonna make more in the long term, you will not. You're just gonna be fired easier. That's never a good thing. That's never a good thing. You want to make sure you have union protection and you have ways to not be fired. Filing fee for Merit System Protection Board claims and appeals. To reduce frivolous employee appeals to the Merit System Protection Board regarding agency disciplinary adverse actions, this reform would charge a modest fee for MSPB filings that would be refunded to those employees who win their appeals. This one, I I kind of 50-50 on it. Depending on the fee amount, I might be okay with it. Some people do submit previous complaints, and we in our department where I work at in my state department, you do have to pay to appeal if you're found if there's evidence that you're found that was substantiate against you that discriminated someone, for instance, or that you committed some type of behavior that's not really good for probably serving, etc. You do pay for the appeal. So this one, depending the fee, I may or may not agree with it. I can agree depending the amount. FEHB protection requires a comprehensive audit of employee dependents currently enrolled in FEHB plans, such as verifying marriage certificates and birth certificates, and requires an any ineligible individual found to be receiving FEHB coverage be disenrolled. I don't like that. Uh, the way they're gonna execute this, I think, is gonna be the big issue also. So that one is something I don't like the idea of. They should already be able to prove that they're married and all that. That should already be in it. So that's a tricky one. Other legislation to be considered here. There's more things they're considering. They're basically making where a lot of people are not gonna work for the government. You basically gonna get crappy employees in the long term working for the federal government. That's what's gonna happen. We already have some. A lot of good people already retire, quit, found better jobs, and they're not dealing with this crap. But that's just something I want to give an update for federal government workers. This is not executive order from the White House, aka Trump, reforming as accreditation to strengthen higher education. April 23rd, 2025. So Trump is trying to control how colleges and universities uh, are going to be able to have accreditation, right, to determine which institute provide quality education. He's trying to make everything merit based. Why with the accreditation? But the big issue with this will impact a lot of universities that have DI initiatives, like Harvard, Princeton, among others, the Ivy League colleges that are nonprofit. The national 6-year undergrad graduation rate was in line with 64% in 2020. Further, many accredited institutions offer undergrad and graduate programs with a negative return on investment. Almost 25% bachelor's degrees and more than 40% master degrees, which may leave students financially worse off and enormous debt by charging them exorbitant sums for a degree which with very modest earnings potential. So if it's very possible they're gonna prevent people from studying certain fields like women's studies or African studies, they might force this university to remove certain majors that people are interested in studying. And I can guarantee this is going to be all related to DI. Some accreditors make the adoption of unlawfully discriminatory practices a form of standard accreditation and therefore a condition of assessing federal aid through diversity, equity, and inclusion, like I said earlier, or DI-based standards of accreditation that require institutions to share results on diversity, equity, and inclusion (DI) in the context of their mission by considering demographics and resource allocation. There's nothing wrong with that. But the DI is a new terminology that the Trump administration is using to discriminate more people. So I'm just scrolling down so you guys can read a little bit more. Oh yeah, that whole harvest into that decision in Congress. I mean, sorry, U.S. Supreme Court. I'm scrolling down, scrolling down a little bit more. This is the new principles of student-oriented accreditation. Just some more information. They try to claim it to just be about merit, even though nobody in the Trump administration was based on merit. It's based on whoever is loyal to Trump that basically is his ass. So this is really pathetic example of dictatorship by Trump administration. Next, this is an article from Tokyo Week. It's from April 23rd, 2025. U.S. visa applications from Japan now require disclosing 5 years of social media history. So on Tuesday, the official account for the visa branch of the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo posted an important note for those applying for a non-immigrant visa or DS-160 for the states. According to the notice, application must include accurate information regarding their SNS accounts that they have used within the last 5 years. Anyone who fails to comply with this request won't be allowed to enter the country. Yeah, this probably will cause some issues. Yeah, so a lot of Japanese citizens, who regularly travel to the US, will probably feel uncomfortable. You know, Not a lot of people want to deal with, sending their Twitter accounts and all that just to travel to the US. I don't agree with this. I think this is too much. I think this is going to push away tourism in the US. Next article from April 23rd, 2025. This is straight from the California.gov website. California is now the fourth largest economy in the world, literally surpassed Japan. Keep that in mind. It's not only California is bigger than the country of Japan, the economy now is larger than Japan. Like really crazy. One single state in the US alone, aka Cali, is richer than majority of countries in the world, and actually has a economy bigger than Japan itself. Not only is a biggest, if not only is Cali bigger than Japan, in terms of mass, land mass, is also now it also now has a higher or better economy. Really crazy. So I just want to that's I guess a good news that I want to talk about at the end of this video. Outperform the nation. Yeah, Cali is yeah, they have really fast, like really fast economy. Faster rate than the world's top three economies. It's crazy. Really crazy. US 5.3%, China 2.6%, Germany 2.9%. Now, keep in mind that as even though Cali has a really great economy, they do have a high unemployment rate. So they have a large population and they do have a lot of issues with poverty. So a lot of low income households do suffer. Now, Cali does provide a lot of benefits for low income households, but it's a very, very expensive state to live in. It's not just a high cost of living place, it's a very high cost of living state to live in. Very high. Just to give you an idea of the GDP, look at this. US itself, the country itself, the US, is only 9.18 trillion. China, 18.74 trillion. Germany, 4.65 trillion. Cali is $4.10 trillion. That's above Japan, India, United Kingdom. That's like insane. For a single state to be this freaking high in the top five of the best economies, or top seven, you can say. That's extremely high. They do have a high population rate, and a lot of it comes from the economy comes from tourism. A lot of people do go to Cali to tour, especially Japanese speakers. Cali is not that far from Japan, you can say. So a lot of them go to Hawaii and Cali. So it definitely has a lot of those type of tourism from those people from those countries. So it's interesting. Now, I know that the governor Newsom did file lawsuit in federal court. He's challenging President Trump use of emergency powers to enact broad sweeping tariffs that will hurt, obviously, Cali in all the states. We will see how that goes. But that was the end of the video. That's all I really want to talk about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about everything I discussed today, especially federal government workers. I want to know your opinion about the whole reform they're trying to do as regulation to pass through Congress. If you agree, disagree with it, I disagree with it. But let me know what you guys think. I really want to know a lot from you guys. If you guys agree with judges, across the nation blocking Trump's deportation attempts without due process, and everything else I discussed throughout the video. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Watch this TikTok, follow us on TikTok, and I hope everyone has a great day.